Big news coming out of China, all the while Bitcoin, a big week next week on the Bitcoin charts, all of it kind of coming together to create an interesting dynamic, an interesting narrative. This is what we have going on. Beijing releases white paper for Web3 innovation and development, and CZ over at Binance tweeting as well. Interesting timing on this Web3 white paper from Beijing government tech committee with the June 1st anticipation in Hong Kong. So what's this June 1st deal? You might have seen it, you might have not seen it, but basically Hong Kong Securities and Futures Commission released a new rule book for the crypto industry last week stating that retail investors can start trading crypto from June 1st. China is back on board. China's back on board. This is huge for the crypto space. And we see China, the fear coming out of China sometimes, and then we see the bullishness coming out of China sometimes. That bullishness leading into kind of bullish environments on the crypto charts. So trading starts for crypto June 1st when a new licensing regime for crypto platforms begin. So kind of what CZ said, and what do you think? In the comments below, let me know. But interesting timing with this Web3 white paper. And you can also see CZ also tweeting a few days ago, the CCTV just broadcasted crypto. And that was a big deal, right? So all of these things, and he's saying historically coverages like these led to bull runs. Interestingly enough, and I can't agree more with this, and then we're going to pivot over to those Bitcoin charts. This was the Wolf of all streets on Twitter. He said, China is back. Puts his tin hat on, I guess. They saw the US stupidly cracking down on crypto and made the obvious decision to go the other way. That has to be what it is. It has to be that. I don't even know how to word it, but the lack of leadership in this country is unbelievable. These are the headlines coming out of the US. Elizabeth Warren is building an anti-crypto army, feeding serious US Bitcoin ban warnings. We've seen just all of the innovation beginning to start leaving the US out of fear because there's absolutely no regulatory clarity in terms of how to build here. And so it is so interesting to see while this is happening in the US, all of a sudden, China going bullish on crypto, and it makes sense. It's a strategic play. This is from a cycle perspective. This is something that we see anyway, but right now the timing seems perfect for China to do something like this. So how will that play into the cycles of Bitcoin? How will that play into the charts? Well, we know the Bitcoin halving is approaching, right? This is 2024 Bitcoin halving. And historically, as you all know, if you've been tracking any type of Bitcoin charts historically, you know, when we start approaching these halvings, something special gets ready to happen, right? So we're approaching the halving. China is starting to get on board here. And then there are so many different data points in terms of this Bitcoin chart that could prove to be probably mostly bullish in the long term. But in the short term to midterm, there's definitely data that suggests we could go down. I just want to say that before we talk about how next week could actually be extremely bullish, the start of something really bullish, because I wouldn't say I necessarily agree with this. There, like I said, is a lot of data suggesting there could be consolidation to the downside before the bull run really starts. But I did find this tweet interesting. Bitcoin Weekly, 1 year of accumulation ends next week. And he's saying, in my opinion, expect first leg of expansion takes us to all-time high swiftly. So this chart, just right off the bat, I want to say I don't agree with this, but this chart is a picture of something I do wonder about on the Bitcoin charts. And he's looking at an accumulation schematic, and you can just see it's been kind of a year of consolidation, which is something that is very evident on this chart. We have kind of been in this year-long just channel of consolidation with the bear market low right there. The thing that I find interesting about that is we do have this bullish news coming out of China that starts on June 1st, right? And what I've been really tracking on this chart isn't so much the bull run starting and we're, going to all-time high quickly. That's not what I'm looking at, but I am looking to see if Bitcoin started to diverge to the upside here after this consolidation that it's gotten to these moving averages. Because like I said, there's a lot of data that suggests it could actually continue to the downside in a very similar way that it did back here in 2019. That swing high out of the bear market and then just consolidation, right? Even to the 50-week moving average, consolidation here to the 50-week moving average. We even have data points like the STH, which is short-term holder market value to realized value. And that basically measures the value of coins moved by short-term holders compared to those coins' value as a portion of the overall Bitcoin market cap. So if you look at this chart of that indicator, you see in green right here how we're trending kind of back down as we got this pop out of the bear market. Now it's starting to trend back down, potentially below that red line into the red. Well, if we look back at this, if you can see the arrow on my screen, the exit out of this bear market back in 2018 into 2019 to that swing high, Bitcoin on this chart with this indicator did a very similar thing. It just dipped kind of down into that red, right, before the true bull market began. And that's just something that I think is in play, something to consider. But when I start seeing, and I'm sure this won't be the only post that I see in relation to a bullish scenario right now for Bitcoin to enter some type of bull run, I really think now when you start having charts and indicators like this schematic, this accumulation schematic that he has here, pairing up with the China news, and there's going to be a lot of videos that are probably, and tweets and all these different indicators that are suggesting some type of early bull run, right? So whether that happens or not, the thing that I am interested in though is, can Bitcoin, especially going into a June 1st type of scenario with all this China news even, can Bitcoin actually start diverging back to the upside? If that happened, if you scroll back, because it doesn't have to be just completely compared to 2019. I know these cycles don't repeat perfectly. I just think the data is very similar and it really does help as a guide. But you go back here, we exited the bear market, right? Got a consolidation, didn't hit the 50-week moving average, and it actually did continue just kind of cruising up into the Bitcoin halving, right? So that was that cycle before in 2015 into 16. So we don't necessarily have to fall like we did in 2019 before the halving. Maybe Bitcoin does actually start kind of cruising to the upside going into halving. Could be very, very telling to see next week what Bitcoin actually does. So this is kind of what's happening today on my Saturday, what I'm tracking, what I'm watching. I wanted to throw it out there. Wanted to hear what you all think. Let me know. Please hit that subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Hit that like button. Your support, it really does mean so much to me. I really do appreciate all of you. Have an awesome weekend, and God bless.